Hello humans, happy and angsty songwriters, simulation theorists, and those that want to get lost, and welcome to the Cosmic Tortoise podcast. I'm Ryan Ferris, coming at you today from my beloved city, Berlin. I'm back over here for a few weeks to work on some brand new music for a top secret project that'll be announced in November. Until then, here's a cozy wee chat I had with my friend Jed Parsons. Jed is a New Zealand singer-songwriter that also hails from my hometown in Christchurch. He recently released his debut album Midnight Feast, which is excellent and has been very well received throughout New Zealand. We chat about music, songwriting, the album, and Jed plays a few of the songs live and acoustic. Enjoy.
Cheers,
Cheers,
mate.
man. Good to have you here.
Hey,
good to see you. It's been a long time.
I know, has it? Oh yeah, lovely.
Bit of German beer.
Oh, good stuff. Water,
Let's get some water as well.
barley. What are the three ingredients?
Hops, water and barley,
Oh yeah.
malted barley.
Yeah, apparently you're not allowed to call it beer in Germany unless it's just got those three ingredients.
Yeah, there's the purity law, which I'm 15 fucking whenever, but I don't know. I've seen those Desperado tequila beers, and I've seen all sorts of other stuff there. So I don't know, I don't know if it's still like that. But most of the German beers are pretty vanilla.
Yeah.
They're either pilsners or they're wheat beers or they're lagers basically, and everything else is just. You get craft beer now, but usually it's just those three. But it's good beer.
What is this? Is it one of those ready squires that are actually really good?
It's a Squire that, yeah, I put all new bits and bobs all over it to make it more reliable.
Mean.
Yeah. So there's that guy, or there's the acoustic over there.
Oh yeah. Let's try these guys out. Yeah, I've got a Squire Strat that I got from the Riccarton pawn shop. That's like one of those ones made in the 80s in Japan.
Oh, that's that.
It's like this guitar sounds mean. Yeah, I got it like for about $400 or $500 or something. And it's mean as.
Yeah. So you see, I've got a wee sneaky condenser under the table, just below your knee. So that'll be for the acoustic.
Bloody marvellous.
Whenever
Shit.
you want.
What a setup.
So, yeah, what do you prefer? Because we'll choose one or the other, I reckon.
Yeah, let's go. Maybe let's go acoustic, so it's all here.
All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. We'll crack into one if you want. Fuck, we've got it all ready to go.
Yeah, let's do it. What shall I play for you?
Is your phone on silent, by the way?
That's a good point. Yeah.
I better check mine.
Amateur hour.
Amateur hour here in Huntsbury Hill. Mine isn't either. Hell's teeth.
Hell's teeth.
Crikey dick.
Oh. All right, I'll start with a song called Reading Me Wrong.
Hell yeah. It's my favourite one.
Oh, nice. Should I just rip into it?
Yeah. You can get a wee bit closer if you want.
Ooh, doo, 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 doo. Oh, I la 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 la. Lovely.
What?
Is that like just the reverb from all the guitars?
Yep.
Mean. That's quite cool.
Yeah, we've got how many guitars do you reckon are there? It's about 3, 6, 11
About
or
100,
so.
I think.
About 1,000 guitars on the wall.
Yeah.
They're all resonating.
I think you should get like a 24-channel mixer and mic up every single guitar.
Use it as reverb.
Yeah.
I'll turn the lights off and then.
Oh,
There you go. That's more.
Oh, yeah.
That's more the vibe.
All right. Well, this is a song called "Reading Me Wrong." If I'm silent, I'm brooding. If I'm occupied, I'm distant to you. If I'm tired, you're wired, wondering what's going on. It seems the night brings with it some kind of madness. When you're reading me wrong and the distance between us is growing. When you're reading me wrong and the distance between us is growing. When I'm wide awake, you're dreaming, far away and drifting from me. We didn't solve the problem, so your dreams are being poisoned. It seems the dark brings with it some kind of sadness. When you're reading me wrong and the distance between us is growing. When you're reading me wrong and the distance between us is growing. So we'll take some time, room to breathe. Hadn't even pondered it yet, but maybe something's wrong. 'Cause when we're sleeping, we're closer, and when I try to hold you to me, guess our dreams are alive, they just ain't quite aligning. And the dark is here and brings with it no comfort at all. When you're reading me wrong and the distance between us is growing. When you're reading me wrong and the distance between us is growing. Is growing. Is growing. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Cheerball.
I love that tune, man.
Thanks, mate.
Such a treasure
Thanks,
on the album.
man. Yeah, it's funny. Like all the singles I've released, there's been 3 of them, and they're all like quirky indie rock kind of sense of humor songs. So it was quite interesting kind of releasing that album because there's, probably at least half of it is actually quite sort of heartfelt, deep and meaningful stuff. So I think for people kind of buying the album based on the singles, they'll probably be quite surprised with some of the integrity, perhaps. On the album.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I heard "Get Lost" and "Time." I think those were the first two singles.
There was "Everybody's Stupid."
Oh, "Everybody's Stupid" was the second one. That's right. Yeah, and I was like, so the rest of the album must be like that. And then had a listen through, and a lot of them are kind of acoustic-y ballads, but dense arrangements with lots of harmonies and lots of keys, and really, really nicely produced as well.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it was sort of co-produced by myself and Lee Preble, who I recorded with. So he was mostly an engineer, but then when it came to like the mixing stage and everything, he put his producer boots on.
Cool.
Yeah.
So he's up at the Surgery Studios. What's that? That's full of. I think I saw the website's full of old vintage tube. Everything's just tube, right? Everything.
Yeah. I think
all the mics,
so. It's
all
very,
his amps. Computer. He's got tubes in his laptop.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's all very, very sort of analog, and it's cool. You can kind of hear it. I mean, I'm not much of a audiophile myself, but I think when you listen to it, like you can hear the warmth of all the analog and tube stuff going on, which apparently is what happens.
What were you singing into?
Good question. Very good question. I did some just into a SM7, a Shure SM7, but then a couple of like really nice German condenser mics. I don't know what they were.
Neumanns or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And we did most of the lead vocal tracks on one mic, and then would use all sorts of different mics for the BVs just to kind of create the space, between lead and harmonies. Yeah.
How did you go about arranging those tunes, especially that last one, "Reading Me Wrong"? Because it seems there's been a lot of thought put into the arrangement. Is that mainly yourself, or is that some other?
Yeah, that was pretty much myself. I think I'm like coming from a drumming background. I think that I'm quite lucky in that I hear the instrumentation as I'm writing the song.
Yeah.
So like I kind of always knew, for "Reading Me Wrong," for example, I kind of knew it would be an acoustic kind of ballad, and I knew it would have strings and stuff. I didn't know exactly what the string parts would do, but I kind of sat down and just one afternoon and came up with the trumpet and cello parts, and so I think it's all kind of just there. I think it's
floating around in the skull.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't have to work too hard to get those things out. Maybe if I worked harder, I'd find something absolutely wonderful. But
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So why don't we rewind a bit, because there will be some people on here that don't know who you are. So your name's Jed Parsons. You're a New Zealand musician. You grew up here in Canterbury, right, in the South Island, in Lincoln.
That's the one.
Yeah. And we became friends at jazz school way back 7 or 8 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah, that's quite a while now.
Yeah, it's all happening, eh?
Yeah.
So how did your musical sort of journey start? So you started playing drums, or did you start playing something else?
Yeah, the drums was my first proper instrument. So it kind of all started with, I'm the youngest of 4 brothers, so they all kind of got into instruments, and I would kind of just listen to what they were doing. And I think subconsciously I learnt to play by ear from this kind of entry into music, because I just listened to what they were doing and then go and try to replicate it. So yeah, certainly that's how I got into drums first, listening to brother Sam smashing away, and then go in and figure out what he was doing. And then started getting kind of itinerant lessons at high school. So yeah, drums again was the first thing, but guitar was kind of closely followed. But there was a lot of kind of self-learning, like those lessons were kind of half an hour, and they certainly gave me a really good foundation, but I think I was kind of destined to be creative from the start. I'd kind of just figure things out and learn what sounded shit and learn what sounded okay, just by kind of tinkering. So yeah, I first sung properly. Got into the vocal side of the things. It was my audition for Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, the Lincoln High School production. And they were always funny because there were never too many boys that it was a co-ed school, and there weren't too many boys that would audition, so you could do whatever you wanted in the audition and get in and get quite a good part. So just rock up and kind of sing half-heartedly, and then do some stupid dance, and they'd go, "All right, you're a lead." So yeah, that was the first time I sung semi-properly was in Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat, and I got Joseph, so that was fun.
It's a pretty good role.
Kind of hilarious stuff. The musicals are so funny, especially the Andrew Lloyd Webber ones and all those real cheesy ones. I love it. So yeah, just throughout high school, I just started getting more and more creative, and I kind of realised it was the one thing I was super passionate about, and just started jamming. Got kind of lucky with the people I ended up hanging out with. You know, they're really creative, and started playing in bands. So I played drums in a band called House of Mountain, which
how did that come about? So that's with Moses and Ben Campbell, right?
And Kurt Preston on bass.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was about 7th form at high school that I entered in the Play It Strange songwriting competition.
Yeah.
And I got like in the top 30 or whatever it was.
Yeah, me too, man. I think I got something in there. So.
And part of the prize, you'll remember, was like you could go to a studio and have a quote professional recording.
Nice.
Of your song. So I was just went to a local studio, and those guys were just there jamming. Like it was kind of just their space at the time to jam, and they inevitably became the session musos on the track that I recorded.
Nice.
So that's kind of how I was introduced to them, and then we all kind of got along quite well. And I was very excited and young and impressionable because it was the first proper musos I'd ever jammed with.
Well, Ben been in Zed?
Yeah, Zed.
Way back, because Zed were quite a big pop rock band in the early 2000s or something in New Zealand. Everyone knew Zed.
Yeah.
And
he went on to form Atlas as well, which Moses was in for a bit there as well.
Yeah, and Atlas did pretty well with that single Crawl. They did pretty good. So it must have been pretty exciting because you would have known about both of those bands, I suppose.
Totally, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think when you're young and you're passionate about something, like meeting anyone that's just in the industry is like a real buzz, especially when it's a creative industry. Starting to jam with them and stuff was just amazing. And like Ben Campbell, Zed's a very polarizing band, I think, but nobody can deny that they could write some amazing hooks. Like people still remember all those songs. So I know, right? So they were just an awesome crew to fall in, especially like as the first kind of crew I kind of joined musically. It was pretty cool, like learning from those guys and and adding value to stuff as well. So it was all of them that we ended up forming House of Mountain with, and we had a kind of a wider crew with that jam crew too. So we're all kind of playing in each other's bands and stuff. It was real good learning because from that I was playing in rock bands and hip hop bands and folk bands and all sorts of stuff. So I really got to figure out what I liked during that process, which has only just come out now in Midnight Feast.
Yeah, man. And you guys used to go away to holiday homes and random things in the countryside with all your really good recording gear and good video cameras.
Yeah.
Back just before video cameras got super cheap, I think it was kind of still a little bit niche to have a really nice video camera. And I was always really impressed when you guys released, I think it was House of Mountain released a few jams.
Yeah.
You were just releasing all sorts of random stuff.
Yeah, that was the thing. It was always jam. House of Mountain only actually ever released one properly recorded single.
The Kiwi hit.
Yeah, Kiwi.
Yeah, that's great. It's a banger.
But even that was pretty like DIY, pretty cowboy. Like I think we just recorded the drums and just at my house. Actually, probably everything at my house. Yeah. But we released a lot of, especially in the early days, just improv jams, which people seem to be really digging. And yeah, so those kind of things where we'd go away to holiday homes and stuff, that was around the earthquakes when everybody was pretty uprooted, and it was like a lot of the venues at the time and a lot of the even just jam spaces in Christchurch didn't really exist, and you know, people's jobs had gone and all that kind of stuff. So it was, you know, sort of in that regard, it was a blessing in disguise, because it forced us to, we were like, oh, well, we don't have anything to do for a couple of weeks. Let's go and set up a random space in the middle of nowhere and record 24/7 and just see what comes out. Yeah. Which was, just amazing for our creative chops.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So we took over the snow park. Snow park offered up free accommodation for Christchurchians at the time, so we just set up a jam spot up on top of a mountain and bloody Wanaka somewhere and recorded a bunch of stuff there and over at Birdling's Flat and all over the place. It was great fun.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I don't think we really talk about the earthquake, because I think heaps of people, we all know what happened in the earthquake in Christchurch, that was really a shitty time. But as you say, it's nice when you have, excuse is the wrong word, but it's the best descriptive word, that you got no work to be at. There's nothing to do in Christchurch. The city's literally down, so you've got no guilt in going away for 2 weeks and
exactly
jamming out.
Totally. And I think it's sort of, I didn't ever really hear any real explicitly earthquake-related songs or whatever, which was great, because I think I would have cringed at that. But I think it did probably unlock quite a bit of creativity in people. Yeah, totally. I guess growing up in Christchurch before that, we were so sheltered at such a conservative place that we would have had no life experiences to draw on. Yeah. So that would have been like, pretty good for some creatives. Yeah. Then I suppose my songs they're not really too life experience kind of orientated, because I've had a pretty happy life, really. So my songs are very just observational of the world and that kind of stuff. Yeah. The earthquakes were interesting for the arts. Yeah, man. Yeah, which is what Christchurch needed. I didn't notice as much street art before the earthquakes, but it seemed like after the earthquakes, what was that thing called that did all the pop-up art? I can't remember the name of it. I know what something space gap filler. Yeah, that's right. Gap filler shot up, and they did all these random kind of art projects for the city, and then there was lots of nice kind of graffiti art, and it was cool. And then you had the container mall, so it kind of, I feel like it gave some people an outlet for creativity that they wouldn't have otherwise had. Yeah, I think so. And it forced people to be creative. I remember there were, I can't remember specifically, but like gigs that were happening were always kind of organised by people with a bit of spark, and they were like, why don't we do a gig in an unused, like, you know, space that's been ruined by the earthquakes? Because there were no venues around there for a bit there. Maybe did Wonder Bar stay open through the whole time? Might have been. Probably might have been if you're out in the burbs, but the central city was just gone. I remember all sorts of interesting things happening. Yeah, it's good fun. Because I had to. Yeah, pretty much. All right, so you met the House and Mountain Boys, and you did a bunch of jamming. You met Hera. You did the Jed and Hera thing for a while, which had quite a lot of good feedback, I'm sure. Yeah, that was fun. It was pretty cool. Yeah. And then you kind of, I remember I saw you at jazz school, and then since jazz school, I think I haven't really seen you that much. I think have you just been keeping your head down, working on your tunes, or what's been happening? Yeah, pretty much. It's been a big, long creative process, really. It's like with this album coming out, I wanted to, because it was just my name and this is just me this time, I just wanted to make sure that it was fully representative of who I am as an artist, also as a person. Like, I don't want to, hopefully in 6 months' time I won't be cringing at it going, I wish I did something differently. But that's kind of why I've been somewhat under the radar, is because I've just been working away on that and kind of, as cliche as it sounds, kind of figuring out who I am as an artist. Yeah. So there's been a lot of writing and a lot of pre-production involved, and like the album process that took, from actually the first time we recorded, I think we started recording in like 2016, midway through 2016. So yeah, but I'm so glad that I have no regrets at all taking that long to do it because I am stoked with the result now. And yeah. So
how many of those songs are from? Are they just from all sorts of different periods? Have you written them over the last 3-4 years, or are they?
Yeah.
There's a new one on there, I think. Tom Harris, he played keys on your tour. I think he told me the last one was "She's Okay" was a new one, maybe. Or was that one?
"She's Okay." That must be.
Or was there one that you came up with just in the studio or something like that? I can't remember.
There were a couple that I brought the ideas for to the studio, and kind of completed the writing process in there. There's a song called "Dreams" that had been floating around for ages, but I just couldn't get right, and that's one that I kind of developed while we were in the studio.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even the new ones, they're pretty old now in the greater scheme of things. They'll be a year and a half old at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of them have been floating around for probably, how old am I now? Oh, I turned 26 yesterday. That's easy.
Shit.
So some of them have been floating around for probably 6 years, or ideas anyway, that I just hadn't managed to throw away because I thought there was something in them.
Yeah.
And then, some that happened while I was in the studio.
Yeah.
So, between 6 years ago and 1.5 years ago.
There you go,
Yeah.
That's how long it takes, eh? You know, people are always clamoring for when bands, release an album or release an EP or release a song, and they would more, and they clamour and they clamour and they clamour. They just don't appreciate that. Often it takes
exactly
years and years and years and years.
And it's not like, I think people assume that in those 6 years I've written just 10 songs, or that artists release whatever they do.
Yeah.
But the reality is, like, I've kind of got this philosophy that I teach to some kids that I mentor and stuff, is that for me anyway, like, I reckon there's a ratio of 90% of the stuff you write is terrible. Yeah. And you want to throw it away. Yeah. But you have to write that stuff to get to the good stuff.
Yeah, dude. I reckon the brain is like a noise machine, and I don't think it's like this just for music, but for thoughts.
Yeah.
Just for everything that goes to your brain. It's almost like a random number generator. And it just it'll take stuff from the environment and then spit random shit back, and then you'll pick stuff that's that sounds about right. Yeah. And I think it's the same with songs. And if you don't get them out either, they sit there and they kind of block the pipe.
Totally, absolutely.
And so if you get them out and finish them and go, oh fuck, that was terrible, but it's done, and then it just kind of clears the way, and then the next bit of noise comes out. And
it took me so many years to figure that out as well. Like, in high school, I'd write something terribly cheesy, as you do as a teenager, something terrible, and then you'd read it back the next day and go, oh, that is awful, and you'd screw it up and throw it away, and then you wouldn't write for a couple of months. And then try it again. And it took me so long to realise that, the nuggets of good stuff exist within all that crap that you write. Yeah. And to throw that stuff away is like, it's kind of, it's not very good. You need, I think sometimes the good stuff exists within the bad stuff. Like, you might write a really bad song, and then there's one line in there that you really like. And as I say, it took me ages to realise you can take that one line out and then write a new song with that.
You can always rewrite lyrics. You can always rewrite lyrics.
So like in the last 6 years, I would have written so many songs.
What would the estimate be if you had to chuck an estimate on it?
I'd probably have ideas anyway for, like, I don't know, maybe like 70 or 80 songs or something. Yeah. But and then, like, taking a lot of those ideas and written entire songs, but that'd be a few less. Yeah, it's funny how when you're writing, you don't have the perspective of what's good and what's bad. Like, I think it's, for me anyway, it's impossible to tell. So you need to finish something and then take a step back and look at it, and then you can decide if it's good or not.
Yeah, totally. You can easily get swept up in the moment of creating something and it can be the best thing ever, and then you wake up the next day like,
yeah. Oh, yeah, that feeling.
yeah. Sick. So actually, this album basically started 6 years ago or so.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess being my
In a
debut
way.
album, it started 26 years ago. You know, like everything I've done musically, I feel like has kind of resulted in this album, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the actual, all the songs that are on the album, there wouldn't be anything older than 6 years.
Yeah. Nice. And would you consider yourself somewhat of a perfectionist if it took that long to get it all out? Or did you just have it, you've got high standards and you know what you can get to, you know your potential, you know what you can achieve, so you're like, I'm going to do that or I'm not going to release anything. Is that kind of the way you approached it? Or?
Yeah, I think so. I think, like I said earlier, the biggest thing for me was just releasing something that was fully genuine and fully representative of me.
Yeah.
So the perfectionism in me is probably more, you know, that psychological side of things.
Yeah.
In saying that though, yeah, I wouldn't have wanted to release anything substandard, and a lot of people had said to me, like, if there's one thing you do, make sure that if anything's bugging you early on, fix it, because it's going to annoy you for the rest of your life. So yeah, there was a lot of back and forth at the studio. Like, we'd do a session up in Wellington, and I'd come down and kind of live with the recordings for a few months, and then go, right, this needs to change, or then record parts myself over top of it, and blah blah blah. And yeah, I think just from what I observe, like, anyone can release music these days, and anyone can hit those big platforms as well, like Spotify and iTunes and stuff. So there's so much stuff out there. So my kind of thought process was, if I want to cut through at all, everything needs to be the best that I can do at the moment.
Yeah.
Like, even down to the artwork and all that kind of stuff. I was like, if it's substandard, how is it ever going to cut through the billions and billions of songs on Spotify and all that kind of stuff?
And the videos are so important as well, because I think that's a massive shortfall of a lot of New Zealand artists, is that the videos, the tunes can actually be quite well produced and quite well mixed and everything, but sometimes they just don't quite put enough budget, or they don't quite have the artistic eye for the video, and it comes across and it's just badly acted or something. You just kind of go, oh fuck. But yours didn't have that. Yours had that gleam to them. That was, hell yeah, and that, you know, humorous and funny and well shot and
thank you.
You know.
Yeah, the I think now that music TV doesn't really exist anymore, I feel like maybe music videos are kind of underrated a bit, but maybe. You know, people still go for these arty music videos or whatever that look really beautiful. But for me, and again, I'm just one person and I have my particular taste, that stuff just, I can appreciate something that looks good, but I'll switch off after a minute.
Yeah.
And I think most people in the world of social media and whatnot, with our very low attention spans, I think you need something funny or something mildly entertaining to them. Like, that was the thought process behind the Everybody's Stupid video, where I'm banking basketball trick shots, because I was...
How long did that take, man?
Oh, man, yeah, so I was like, okay, I kind of timed it. I was like, okay, a trick shot, maybe I'll have like 5 minutes of attempts before I got one, and then I mapped it all out. I was like, okay, that'll take one afternoon. So we went out to film it, and I ended up taking about 3 days. And then, the editing process. Not that all the trick shots are for real, but Eugene Lee, who produced that one, he's a real, like, a massive perfectionist. So editing took quite a long time and all that. Did
you work on that together?
Yeah, I just went to him with the original concept, and he said, "Yeah, cool." And
but I mean, on the editing and the production side, he just took care of that.
Yeah, he edited it.
Yeah,
which was probably lucky. I mean, I would have probably been like, "Yep, that is good." Yeah. But yeah, he spent ages on it, which is good. I think also because in New Zealand, and probably just in the music industry in general, the budgets aren't massive anymore for videos. So, trying to pull off a big budget production with a small budget. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Simplify it if you don't have the budget to do a huge brand thing. Just simplify it, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all my videos the concepts have actually been really simple, because of that.
Yeah.
So okay, one is going to be me banking basketball trick shots. Like, how big of a budget do you need to do that? And then the time music video is just one shot, me walking around and dancing. And Get Lost, that's a bit more hardcore. We had NZ On Air funding for that.
Yeah.
But
you're
again,
on a helicopter and you're on tennis courts.
Yeah. Well, anything with a helicopter in it looks like a big budget. But that was like, I saw the exchange of money. It was going to be more than $100. It was just an old guy who just happened to have helicopters in his hangar on his property.
Sweet.
Like, yeah, we'll go up. That'll be fine.
Yeah. Take it yourself.
Yeah. But yeah, the concept for that as well was just like, went to a director and I just had that was more aesthetically driven. I was like, right, just really fast cutting shots, probably with a theme of me living out my dream versus me working like an office job or something like that, and just ran with it.
Yeah, that's cool.
So yeah, low budget is, I think, cool these days.
Yeah.
I think it's certainly got a lot of merit. You just don't want to try and come across as big budget.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to bust out another tune?
That's a good idea.
I don't know how well those strings are holding up in tune.
They feel better than any strings I've ever. My acoustic guitar's running like probably about 4-year-old.
Oh, nice.
4 years old.
That aged sound.
Yeah, exactly. I'll play. This is a wee kind of waltzy number from Midnight Feast.
I'll get the lights down again.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea. It's a song called "How Could You," also from the Midnight Feast album.
Midnight Feast.
Oh yeah. I've been thinking about you a lot. When I think about people, I tend to think people know roughly what I'm thinking about. But how could you when you pass me by? How could you when you don't bat an eye? When all that's on my mind is you. I've been thinking of all that I've got, and of the things that I have. There are things I could give you which others just simply could not. But how could I when you pass me by? How could I when you don't bat an eye? When all I'd give my life for is you. I've been thinking that this has to stop, 'cause the more that I offer, the less that you go for, and I'll just be left with a dream that we could be as one. But how could we when you pass me by? How could we when you don't bat an eye at me when all I've needed is you?
Damn, son. That's some good whistling, man. Not many people can whistle these days.
I never know what's going to come out either. Like, I've played gigs. It's honestly 50-50 whether I can even do it or not, and I don't know until I try it. So I'll be like, here comes a big whistle solo. I don't know what it is yet. I need to make a spreadsheet of what I was drinking during the show, or
yeah, we had vibrato on that and everything.
Tonight it wasn't bad.
Yeah. We can just cut that bit out. I'll just release that whistle solo. I mean, that's all people's attention span have.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all they got anyway, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly what I think.
Yeah. Sick, man. I'd like to talk a bit about what these songs are about. I mean, are you quite a conscious songwriter in that? Do you have something happen to you, or do you observe something and then you think, I'm going to write a song about that? Or when you're writing music, does it sort of just pour out and you realize afterwards what it was about?
I have pretty much every different songwriting style, under my I haven't worked out yet what my thing is. I think mostly, though, it's observational, and it starts with just one idea. Most of the stuff starts with one idea, and usually that's like a couple of words together or something that kind of creates a unusual concept or whatever. But yeah, like I said earlier, like my life has been pretty happy and relatively sheltered, so I don't have any really gnarly stuff to write about and really pour my heart out, except for love, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, just thinking about some of the songs on the album, like...
Well, Reading Me Wrong, the one you open with,
yes,
that's the most intimate one, for me at least. It's felt like the most intimate one.
Yeah.
And it's really captures that sadness of just miscommunication and misunderstanding between two people really well. And yeah, I listened to that one the most, I think, out of the whole lot, because it was just... Yeah, and really beautifully produced, and vocals were epic and everything. But is that one a personal song? Is it about a personal thing that happened to you?
Yeah, I don't try to go too far out of my own shoes. So yeah, that was sparked from a real life situation, but again, not a situation that anyone's particularly unfamiliar with, which is what you said. It's just exactly what you said, the sadness of miscommunication and how that can really mess things up. So yeah, it was just that idea. I tend to embellish things as well. If like that thing was a real life scenario of the miscommunication in a relationship, but then I took that and kind of in my head I was like, okay, what would happen if this was like, an ongoing thing, and that was, the relationship was really bad or really sour or whatever. How heartbreaking would that be? And then I'm able to write a song from that perspective. Yeah. So I tend to, if I need to kind of really resonate with people or cut through to people, I'm not afraid to embellish my own personal experiences a little bit.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are 100% personal.
Yeah.
Like She's Okay, for example. That's the last song on the album. That was a kind of particularly sad breakup, and probably wrote that song very soon after that happened. And they're all observational. So the first song on the album is called Real World, for example, which was just me thinking about, maybe I must have heard someone say that's how it is in the real world, and just the concept of the real world being this negative thing, it's always got negative connotations attached to it. It's like, whoa, that's pretty heavy. Why does the real world have to be this big negative piece of shit?
Yeah.
So I would have just written Real World and then written the song from that.
Yeah.
Same as Get Lost.
Yeah.
Pretty much the exact same concept. It's like Get Lost is always negative connotations, but at the time of writing that song, I was really desperate to go travelling and kind of get out of Christchurch and probably literally get lost in a weird city somewhere or something. Sparked by just 2 words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like the album's frustration at a bunch of silly attitudes about life, and then a bit of lamentation on some sad relationship stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. And it's beautiful.
I think the world is pretty funny. Like if you kind of look at it and think about it, like I've got a lot of songs now brewing about kind of social media and stuff like that, which is a hot topic. Probably every musician's written a few songs about that. Like it's just really weird to take a step back. I think that's what we do as artists. That's our job, is to take a step back and analyze stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one thing that's particularly weird. So I'll write a few songs about that.
Yeah.
Just observations of weird stuff, but not too heavy either.
Yeah.
Obviously the heaviest I go is love, which is I try and resonate with as many people as possible, and love is the biggest concept that is most familiar to the most people.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And everyone can associate with feeling in love or feeling out of love or all that kind of jazz. Yeah.
Would you say the main intention behind your music is to connect with as many people as possible, or to have that genuine connection with people?
I think so. I think that would be as much as artists would like to say, no, I just want to write something that's genuine to me and blah, blah, blah. I think the reason we're all doing it is to kind of connect with as many people as possible, or at least
within our own worlds.
Yeah. At least give as many people something to take out of the music as possible, So the more people that hear it, the merrier in my eyes.
Yeah.
I've sort of been through a process of thinking with songwriting, and that I don't know, it seemed like a revelation to me. I don't know if it's obvious or not, but I used to write songs for myself, when I'd feel sad and I'd write something that made me feel a certain way or whatever, but it took me a while to realize that it's not at all about you when you're writing a song, for me anyway, and probably for a lot of songwriters. You are writing for the listener, for them to resonate with something and for them to connect with something. And that's one thing that sticks out with me with young songwriters, because I do a bit of mentoring in schools and stuff. They write this stuff that is you can tell is real deep and meaningful to them, but it's so filled with metaphors or just doesn't make sense, and no one else resonates with it, to the point where sometimes it's just comical when they're trying to be emotional or whatever. So I just try and write for the masses in a genuine way.
Yeah, it seems you're not afraid of pop, which is great. And I don't think any of the songs are over 4.5 minutes on the album.
Yeah.
And pop is way more difficult than people think.
Absolutely.
Especially to write sincere and good pop like what you've written, because I mean a lot of the top 40 stuff that they just pump out from those Swedish production studios or whatever. I mean that's with the 4 chords, that's understandably what people think, why people get frustrated with pop music. But to write good pop music, I mean, my example that I've always talk about, I think I've talked about on all the music podcasts on this podcast, but is Kiss from a Rose by Seal. To say that pop music is just simple, or it's it's just pandering to people or whatever. It's like, man, listen to that song, or listen to any Wildbridge, listen to Jed's album, listen to Jed Parsons' album, and that's what pop music should be, and that's how you connect to many people. But it's very difficult to do that without it becoming across as cheesy or insincere or any of those horrible adjectives you want to chuck in music.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I think also with, you bringing up cheese, it's like, I reckon I've struggled with cheese for a long time. Like, a lot of the stuff I've written in the past is cheesy. I think the problem with doing that when I was doing it is that I didn't realise it was cheesy. I reckon if you know that your song's cheesy, then you're okay.
Yeah.
I love like the Beach Boys and all that kind of stuff, which by definition is pretty cheesy, but they just completely own it. But it's pop music I think is quite amazing. Even that mass-produced stuff, like, I guess it's popular because of all the marketing behind it and stuff, but there's still a reason why that resonates, why it's called pop music, because it's popular, so many people love it.
It's familiar, it's easy to sing along to.
Yeah.
Easy to dance to.
Yeah. And you say it's harder than people think. to write pop music. I would agree with that. Like there's so many kind of angsty music around that is, trying not to be pop. Like that's the thing they try and do, and it's actually, I think that stuff. I don't want to say anything mean about anything, but that super angsty stuff seems pretty basic a lot of the time.
Yeah,
there's good stuff across the board, but
it's
to
easier.
write something that, like you say, is not too cheesy, but it's still going to appeal to the masses and all that kind of stuff, I think is very hard.
It's much easier to write sad music or angry music than it is to write happy music.
Mm-hmm.
To be completely honest, good happy music and that doesn't come across as cheesy, or that's super cheesy and it takes the piss out of itself. But still, it's very, very, very difficult to write that and to have it come across as genuine. It's so hard.
Yeah.
What else have we got on here? So that would pretty much sum up what we were saying before about the themes, right? So you've got this sort of frustration at some attitudes of society, and maybe even might be slightly some people might interpret it as baby boomer kind of frustration. I don't know. Yeah, that's where the real world, that's what you get in the real world, boy. That comes from, I think, that generation potentially. But
yeah, that's true.
My dad's probably said that, to me about countless times, but I always just laugh it off these days. But But so you got that and love, and what are you branching out to many other themes in your new, you're still writing, obviously. We always continue to write when we do this stuff. So are there anything else creeping into your sphere of influence? You said social media.
Yeah, social media. I'm thinking, like, as I kind of said, like, they're just ideas that will pop in, so they could be just pop into my brain when I'm driving or whatever.
Yeah.
So it could be really anything. I guess the general umbrella is that it's observational.
Yeah.
But social media. I reckon the other thing that's really, really starting to trip me out, and it's pretty cliche, but is the whole virtual reality thing.
Yeah.
That is blowing my mind. I know it's funny and I know it's silly, but I can't think of a reason why we are not living in a virtual reality. Right?
Simulation theory.
Yeah.
Right,
that's what it's called.
So for those that aren't familiar with simulation theory, it's similar to the Matrix, but the idea is if humans continued on the technological path that we're on right now, so if we continue increasing our technological capabilities ad infinitum, forever and ever, and we get better and better and better, if you look at cartoons and games from the 90s and you look at them in 2018, it's night and day. And the 2018 CGI stuff is mind-blowing. You can make hair that looks like hair and water that looks like water and people and everything like this. So the simulation theory thing goes along the lines of, if we extrapolate that out 50 years or 100 years or maybe even less, we'll be able to have a virtual reality machine that you put on that you won't be able to distinguish from the real world, from reality that we're in right now. And if we think that we're capable of doing that in a relatively short amount of time, even if it's 1,000 years from now, what's to say that we're not already living in one?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I realised it was my exact theory that I've come up with is quite a universally no one. But that's exactly what I think. Yeah. I think since I was up at one of the Wellington universities where they're kind of working on virtual reality, and I got kind of a little guided tour of the system and stuff, and was playing these games, and it just blows my mind. Like, these are the very first releases of these games, and you can, like, you're walking down an alleyway and there's robots jumping off buildings at you, and you're like, what happens if I reach out and grab them? And you grab them, and you're like, what happens if I bring them up close to my face? And you're holding them by the scruff of the neck, and then you're like, okay, what happens if I rip his head off with my other hand? And you rip his head off, and then you throw him up in the air. It's like, if these are the first releases, and you can already do so much, like, definitely in 500 years, it's gonna be just ridiculous. Yeah, it kind of blows my mind. I know it's funny, but I just can't convince. I can't figure out a reason why. why we're not in one already.
and then you start seeing glitches, or you think you saw a glitch in it, and you're like, wait, what,
that person walked past before.
Yeah. Yeah, it's on a loop. Wait, what?
Yeah. I'm not a particularly religious person, but someone said to me the other day, they were like, yeah, you realise that's basically religious chat, that simulation theory. And I was like, oh, damn it.
Well,
kind
no,
of is. Like, it's a
kind of is, but not really. I mean, the difference between that and a religion is religion promises you things and gives you sets of rules and gives you metaphysics of what God is or what God isn't and all those sort of things. Whereas simulation theory just says reality might be like this.
Yeah.
It might not.
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
But what about the people who are like, it's definitely like this?
Oh, okay. Then they're, there's no way for anyone to be sure that it's definitely like that. So then in that case, yeah, that's some sort of blinders.
Wouldn't it be funny though if we all die and it's dying is just like taking off your virtual reality mask and there's a guy there called God and he's like, okay, sweet, how was that?
Yeah.
On to the next one.
Oh, dude. Do you watch Rick and Morty?
Oh, I actually just started watching. I watched a few episodes a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it's kind of
for a cartoon. It's I love it. It's one of my favorite things.
yeah.
But there's a sequence in that. I won't say because it would be a spoiler. But there's make your way through Rick and Morty, and you'll get to the point, and then you'll see it, and you'll be like, okay, there you go. Yeah, they've got it covered. But,
yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knows? I might write a song about virtual reality on the next.
Yeah, man, do it. Do it, and then release your video on 360 VR.
Yeah,
that's
classic. A good idea.
Yeah,
it could be the start. It
Yeah.
could be the start of things.
yeah.
Oh man,
My friend's band, they're called Lage. They're in Melbourne. They just released on Facebook, which was really cool. It was a 360-degree live video of them in their studio playing some stuff. So you just have your phone out and you'd have the screen. You say, oh, yeah, it's just... My friend didn't even notice. He said, oh, the video was on the drummer the whole time. And I said, oh, did you not move your phone? If you move your phone, literally around you, you can actually see the rest of the band and you can move around as they're playing the whole tune. So cool.
Wicked.
It all looks kind of distorted and wide angle and weird, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. Oh, that'll be the future of music videos, eh? It'll be like interactive music videos.
Yeah.
It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that one last thing on that simulation theory, I mean, it's fun to think about it. And if we are, but the thing is, if we are in one, it doesn't really matter. Because, what can you do about it? Unless it matters if you could somehow unplug yourself. But, as far no one knows that we're in one. And even if we were, it's like, well, that doesn't really make life any less meaningful. I don't think
that's
really,
true. Yeah, that's
pretty funny
point.
though.
yeah, it is funny. I think Elon Musk is into it, eh?
Yeah, he's the one that he's popularized it a bit. Yeah.
And you can totally see why he's into it, because he's like, I've got an idea to build like a really fast electronic car.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just do it. It's a simulation. I can do whatever I want. Okay, I've done it.
Yeah, maybe
I'm going to become the richest person in the world.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
It's all a simulation, man.
Maybe he figured that out years ago when he was in PayPal or something. I think that's how he got rich. He was in PayPal. He's probably like, oh, this is a simulation. I'll just do this and found the cheat codes or whatever. But he's doing so much crazy shit, dude. He's got this company called the Boring Company. Which is it's a funny name anyway, but they're literally boring these massive tunnels under LA, and he's going to make a private infrastructure for personal transport around LA because it's so congested with cars and stuff, mainly for pedestrians and bikes. Yeah, but also, I think if you're baller, you can go down these little portals. They're the size of a car. It'll just suck you down out of the street, and there's hundreds of them through the city, and then you're in this private underground infrastructure that hoons you around LA and you get there way quicker. Crazy, eh?
That's fantastic. But how's that not just going to become the next busy road?
I'm not sure. I think that's why he's prioritizing pedestrians.
Right.
And there'll be a few cars, I think it's mainly, and they're in these little pods and they just fly you off. It's pretty cool.
For some reason, I just don't actually know anything about that guy, but he's like really doing some crazy things there. I didn't even follow that space thing. What did he do? He sent something into space. So it was a big deal. One
of his companies is called SpaceX, and he wants to colonize Mars. That's one of his things.
Okay,
He's stated that several times.
It's a simulation. Why not?
Yeah, exactly. But no, that thing that he sent off was a Tesla Roadster, I think, and he he put a spacesuit inside of it. It looked like a man in a spacesuit or a woman in a spacesuit in the car, and he just fired it off into space. One of his cars, just because he can. And then everyone was saying, "What if there's someone in the suit?" Because it had a fully reflective visor on. He's like, "What if he murdered someone? And that's the ultimate get away with it. He just fired him." He's
That's amazing. That's a good point.
all these conspiracy theories.
Yeah, awesome.
His most wild project though, dude, is this thing called Neuralink, which is he calls it a ultra high fidelity brain computer interface. So he wants to create this he calls it the wizard hat as well. He wants to create this insane thing that interfaces so well with your brain that you can actually merge with the computer. And he wants to do that so we can merge with AI when it becomes too powerful. We can just become part of it. Yeah, that's his other top secret project. That's he's a crazy billionaire. You know, he's what we need. We need more of him, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
What a classic.
Yeah, classic. Okay. Do you want to sing another tune?
Yeah,
One more.
Righto. I'm gonna go. Actually, I'll do one that I've never done on just acoustically on any radio things or whatever. It's on the album. It's sort of one of the more standard kind of pop songs. Sounds like it was maybe one of the bad ones from the 60s or something, but hey. It's a song called Move On, because we're on the theme of... Actually, yeah, they've all been songs about breakups or relationships going bad tonight, so why not?
Why not? Keep it going.
There. It's a song called Move On.
My shit together so that we can laugh about the times when we were kids, or fall on my sword over something that I can no longer call my own. It's funny how affection often blooms in retrospection, always one play behind. Well, now I'm in the thick of it and you don't feel I'm relevant, and I feel I'm still head over heels, but I gotta move on. I gotta move on. I gotta move on. I gotta move on. Together so that you can make a quick exit and leave me here. Oh, drawing out the process is an exercise in pointlessness and pain. It's funny how they laugh at youth, cause we don't know the truth, and yet they crave our days. Well, now we're in the midst of it, years to our name irrelevant. My heart is on fire. I gotta move on. I gotta move on. I gotta move on. I gotta move on.
All right.
Sick, man. So I want to ask about a couple more things. First thing I want to ask about is vocals, because I'm a singer as well.
A
And-
lovely singer.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And it's always interesting to hear about how other singers approach technique or lack of technique or whatever. I mean, how they approach singing, how much they think about singing as an exercise and health and all that sort of stuff. So what have you paid, because on the album, your vocals are completely flawless, and you're live, you're just awesome as well. So it's just,
Thank you very much.
there's obviously a lot of work gone into that, but I'm just wondering how much of it is conscious or not, and how much you've thought about it.
Yeah, so on the album, I actually redid all of the vocals, I think. So that was one of the back and forths, kind of laid down vocals, pretty rushed, maybe in like the last day of the first session, and went back and listened, and I just really hated them. So it's always, for me, if it is conscious, it's very kind of trial and error, and kind of, at least I'm able to listen back and go, I don't like that because of this or that, because there's too much vibrato or it sounds nasally, so I kind of figure out how to fix that and get on with it. But I'm overall, I'm definitely more on the non-technique side of things.
Right. But you know what you want to hear.
Yeah, I think so. It's tricky though, because your voice, my voice anyway, sounds completely different when it's coming back at you than how it does in your, to yourself when you're singing.
Yeah.
So for me, the only way is trial and error. Like, sing something, listen back, go, okay, what happens if I open up my throat a little bit more, and then listen back and go, okay, that was all right. But I also do things kind of by accident sometimes and go, oh, that was quite cool and felt quite good, so keep doing that.
Yeah. Nice.
I think I'm sort of, when it comes to performing, I'm comfortable enough to try stupid shit. I always do it. So that's kind of why I kind of give the falsetto thing a go, because I guess I've got enough confidence to do that when, being a fellow, a lot of people are a lot of guys are quite scared to do that, I think. For fear of sounding girly or for fear of their voice breaking or whatever, but I just don't really care too much about that stuff.
Yeah, sweet. Smash it out.
Yeah. But technique, it's an interesting one. I studied vocals. Did I come in as I came into jazz school as a vocalist. And while I learnt some great stuff and the tutors were awesome and stuff, I couldn't help but feel slightly cynical towards the whole training of your voice thing, because I just didn't want to sound like every other wonderful vocalist. And I kind of thought about some of the singers I really like Neil Young and cats like that, or songwriters at least that I like. And you think about their voices, and they're actually technically probably terrible, and they sound like a cat bloody being banged against the wall or something. But I think those kind of voices are iconic and they stick out. So I was like, man, I don't want to lose the quirks of my voice by overtraining myself. In saying that, I would know how to preserve my voice a bit better and all that if I was more technical. Yeah. I did a big, just on the album tour just recently, I did a big harmony session on my Cuzzy's record.
Mel Parsons? Or?
Yeah. So she's got a new album coming out this year. So I kind of took the reins on the harmonies and did like a 5-hour harmony recording 5 hours of harmonies the night before my Christchurch show.
Oh, that's always a good idea.
And did not even think about it. It's like, oh, I'll just smash them out and go sing. And I just lost my voice. After that, I was like, oh, yeah, my voice is a bit sore, and it just got worse and worse.
Damn.
So I'm sure that would have been a technique thing. So that wasn't ideal, and it kind of made me think, shit, maybe I should get some lessons again or something like that. But yeah, I'm glad you liked the vocals on the album, because I went back and redid them all.
So good, man.
Thanks. I think it's a lot to do with production as well. When I do vocals, I love kind of especially on the indie rock, indie pop numbers, I love the sound of double tracking and kind of even like a bit of distortion and that kind of stuff I really like.
Yeah, they're quite saturated in a really nice way, and they're quite bright and very forward, but that's the thing about having the forward vocals is that you have to have them nailed.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they're that forward, you're just going to hear a little bit. But they're just nailed. The whole album's nailed. So good job,
Cool.
man.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was happy I redid them.
Yeah. The vocal health thing's interesting. I've been singing probably 12 hours or more a week for the last 3 years, and I've done a bunch of tours around Germany and shit. And so just a few things that I notice is like sleep's probably the most important one.
Yeah,
If you don't sleep enough.
True.
I think it's like a when you work out a muscle, like your bicep, you're doing your curls or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it makes these little micro cuts in your muscle, and then when you eat protein and sleep, they sort of get repaired overnight.
Yeah.
I think the same thing happens in your voice. So the vocal cords are tiny, and then they get a little bit fucked up every time you sing. They just get a bit worn out, and they need that time to repair. And if you just don't sleep well, that happened to me on tour. I did everything normal as I normally would at a gig, but I only had 4 hours sleep, and then my voice is totally just gone. And a wedding to sing the next day, it's the worst.
Oh man,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. You just got to. I think your voice gets deeper as well when it's a bit bunky.
Yeah.
Drop everything down a few tones.
And it's an annoying instrument because everybody's voice is different. Some, Eddie Vedder's voice can handle 2 bottles of red wine a night, all tour, smoking, grunge life. And other people, just lose their voice after 1 or 2 shows. It's a pain in the ass. It's the most annoying instrument to keep in shape, eh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, man, all right. Well, I've got a couple of last questions for you.
Groovy.
These are a couple that I ask most of the guests. So, before we get on to that, I want to know what your plans are going forward. So you've released Midnight Feast. You've done a tour around New Zealand.
Yeah.
You've released your 3 singles. You've even been on the NZ charts now. What's going on forward for Jed Parsons?
I'm just going to, in the next wee while, just continue to kind of push the album, get as many people to hear that as possible, and use that as a vehicle to hopefully get on the kind of festival circuit. Maybe this year, definitely next year, I'm going to really push for it. Definitely do a lot more touring, probably hit up some kind of more small town stuff, because the album release was just the main cities. So, just get on the road and probably try out Australia at some point, probably next year as well. There's a few shows already coming in for me, which is cool for till the end of the year.
Yeah.
So just touring a lot and
smashing.
And I've already got a lot of songs being toiled away in the background too. So there'll be album number 2 at some stage.
So we'll look forward to that in 2024.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. I think on that topic, I was asked this the other day in an interview, like, do we have to wait another 10 years for your album? And made me realise that it won't be that long, because Midnight Feast has been the first release of who I am. So up until Midnight Feast, it was actually figuring out who I was as a musician and figuring out not only the songs and the production, but the whole Jed Parsons package. So now I'm pretty sure I know who I am as an artist, so I don't have to spend 10 years figuring that out.
Yeah.
So it'll just be the songs this time, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully. Nice one. All right. If you had $10 billion to spend on any one thing, what would it be?
10 billion?
Yeah, and why?
Oh, world peace, man. No way. Lollies.
Bogies?
Good question. What would I do? I think I'd probably try and make all those weird childhood dreams come true first. So, like, definitely a hydro slide going from my bedroom.
Has to be one thing, though.
Oh,
so it could be a park or something.
So
you can make yourself a park.
Yeah, okay. It'd have to be just a mean house.
Yeah.
So it'll be a house. Can I say a house with a hydro slide?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a house. It's on a mountain, but somehow has real good access to a beach as well. Probably, yeah. So let's go hydro slide from my bedroom.
Yeah.
Which is in a house on a massive mountain, but the hydro slide goes all the way down to a mean beach.
Yeah.
Private beach.
Yeah, private beach with a wee, cove or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that'll be cool.
Yeah. I reckon you could do that for quite less. What else would you do with the 10 billion though? You could do that for $1 billion or less.
Oh, well, the real estate is in like super protected area, like
It's in the
remote.
Amazon rainforest or something.
Yeah, yeah. So it's on the mountain. It's got a hydroslide from there to the beach. What else can I spend the money on?
That'd be-
Maybe like a big, oddly shaped bed.
Yeah.
But I'd also need someone to make that bed for me, so
Yeah.
I'd employ a full-time bed maker.
Bed maker.
Yeah.
It's such an oddly shaped bed that it takes a full-time staff member to make it each time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I think
Would you pay? How much would you pay them?
Under minimum wage, I think. No, I'll just pay them the other $9 billion.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good. Yeah. A lifetime contract's not bad. So, sweet. All right. All right. Last one. If you could take a trip up to the International Space Station and have a beer and look over the Earth, or take a personal submarine all the way down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, which is the deepest part that we know of the ocean, and have a rock around, and they're both totally safe. But you
Safe.
Yeah, but you can only do one. What would you do and why?
So I know deep down in my heart that there's nothing that can possibly happen to me. It's like guaranteed.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah.
Okay. Man. Well, I mean, you can't really discover that much up at the space station, can you? Except just get a mean view.
You just get the main view of the Earth. Yeah.
You're probably
And
not
a
going to
beer.
discover. Yeah, and a beer. That's true. Do I get a beer in the submarine?
No, it's not quite the same
Oh,
deal.
massive.
There's a bar, they've just put a bar on the ISS and you can jump up there and have a beer.
The ocean freaks me out. Like, I sometimes just look at it and I'm like, man, there's some weird stuff. Probably even that I could see if I had special glasses or something.
Yeah. Well, you'd have some sort of floodlights or something, so you could actually check out what the hell is down the bottom there.
So it comes down to me whether I want to be freaked out or not. Because there'll be some weird big sharks and stuff down there, eh?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe I'll do that.
You get down to the bottom of the trench. Yeah.
Even though I don't get to drink a beer, I'd love to discover some weird stuff out there because I always wonder.
Yeah.
Space station, it's cool. It's a nice view, but I'm probably not going to see an alien fly past the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll go down there and discover some crazy
Some new
beast.
lanternfish with bioluminescent thing hanging off its face, with teeth sticking out its jaw or something. Yeah.
What do they reckon? We haven't discovered quite a large percentage of the creatures in the world, hey?
I think we know more about something like we know more about the moon than we know about our oceans or something silly, or our solar system than our ocean. I don't know, something stupid like that. But yeah, I think most of it's still undiscovered because it's so difficult to get down there.
Yeah.
With all the pressure and.
Apparently, you just jump in a personal submarine.
Yeah, well, you do,
Go down there,
yeah. In this scenario, you can just jump down there. Yeah, just on your own.
Yeah, okay, locked in.
Yeah, sweet. All right, we'll make that happen.
Cool.
Sweet, man. Good chat, so we can leave it there.
Thank you very much for having me.
No worries. One last thing. How can people find you and your music and everything?
All over the internet. I'm on Spotify and iTunes and the blimmin' social medias. Or you can buy the album Midnight Feast on CD or vinyl on Bandcamp or anywhere else. Any of the record stores.
Sweet. Thanks for coming on, bro.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Hey guys, it's Ryan here. If you've been enjoying the Cosmic Tortoise podcast so far, there are a few ways that you could help us grow. Flicking us a rating on iTunes, getting amongst our Facebook and Twitter pages, and sharing us with other curious humans such as yourselves would be amazing. Growth makes it possible for us to increase the frequency of episodes and garner ever more fascinating guests that sit on the edge of cultural and technological phenomena. Thanks for tuning in and for your hunger for knowledge. And we'll see you next time on the Cosmic Tortoise podcast.